Extra, extra, read all about it. Get your papers here. Extra, extra, God caught lying. Get your paper. Extra, extra, God caught lying. Alright, this is Yalak here, and my lesson is titled, When God is Lying. Now, I'm talking about the food that the Creator said man should eat according to the Torah. And you know, I've said many times recently that I'm investigating the Torah now, investigating God. He doesn't seem to walk or talk straight to me anymore. And I just want to take a look at, the whole dietary law again and compare what he said to Noah to what he gave as his original instruction to Adam or to man at first in Genesis chapter 2, and show from what I'm seeing that God is lying. So in Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, it says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." Notice here that he was formed of the dust of the ground, and he will be fed or sustained from the ground he came out of. So in a biblical kind of way, or in a precept kind of way, you would then say that he is going to be sustained by food that comes out of the environment and the substance from which he was made. So he came out of the ground, and then his food, he will be told, will be food that also comes out of the ground that he came out of, so that he'll be sustained by something that is not alien to his whole makeup. Now if we run down to verse 9 and 10, it says, "And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree." So out of the ground that he was taken, right? "Every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food." And many of you may have seen this man, picture of him online with his story. I saw it a few months ago, and I saw it years before as well, of a man that looks like he's growing like a tree is growing out of his body, like his nails and so on, and whatever has gone wrong with his body and his bones and so on. Look it up online. It's like a tree man. I don't know if that's the term that they were using for him, but you can run a search like that. The man looks like a tree is growing out of him, like out of his belly or out of his bones or wherever it's coming from, and out of his hands. It looks like the roots of a tree and so on, and just the body of a tree basically coming out of him. And so when you see that man came out of the ground and then the trees are growing out of the ground, it is so similar to us. So to switch and say the God of the Torah is telling you to eat animals, when so many people and organizations are telling you that you can get sick from this. Now I read something this past week as I continue to look into it, which is why I've been doing these lessons on the whole Garden of Eden from last year, and the good and evil, knowledge of good and evil and so on. Because just because there is a good and evil in life, and there is an up and down, salt and pepper, hot and cold, people use that to say, well, because something else exists, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other stuff is true. And so I read an article earlier this week. People have been eating animal meat for thousands of years, and we're still here. But they use this kind of argument to say there's nothing wrong with it and it's fine and so on, when even many strong Torah teachers worldwide believe that a part of the reason for the judgment of earth with Noah's flood was that man was eating animals. But if I try to use that similar argument as they're using to say, well, evil rulers on earth, evil kings and so on, and presidents have been killing people for a long time and gassing people, biological warfare on people, and just accusing people of being witches and killing them, accusing people of being whatever they do, and just killing them and whatever, and poisoning us with medicines for thousands of years, then it's all right for us to continue to be poisoned and slaughtered and killed and a name slapped on us to make the rest of the public turn against us and so on. And then after they do that and they get the support of the public to pass laws to kill that group of people, then of the people that are left, they find another group to focus on and slap a name on them, a title that makes the rest of the public left now turn against them and so on. So because rulers and kings from ancient times have been doing this kind of stuff, isn't it all right then? The same way you say that man has been eating animals for thousands of years, it's all right when we aren't dead yet. So you see, we're still alive even though people are doing evil things to us. People have been robbing banks and breaking into your house and stealing for thousands of years. Well, why complain and call the police when it happens to you, when your house is broken into and someone is trying to kill all your family in the middle of the night? Because this is just a part of life, it just happens. Right, so there shouldn't be a problem with it if you're thinking it's all right to eat meat. I think people, and a lot of people who are reading from the Bible too, should just understand that it is very clear to all of us that something has happened on earth. And the way things were originally was very different than what it's like now, and people were more peaceful. I'm sure that everybody would want to go back to year one and be able to live in that time. So if everything else that's happening now, with all the dual concepts that they're taking advantage of, like the good and evil and whatever, to try to say everything is fine right now, leave it alone, it's all right and whatever. I mean, I'm sure you would want to go back to that first time when man came to and realized that he is alive. And you'd count that as a better world to live in. You would give up your internet connection, your cell phones, all this modern technology, if you could go back to a time when there was clean air, when people were in harmony with each other, and when every creature was allowed to flourish. Man, animals, butterflies, everything was able to flourish, and there was true peace. If you can meditate on that in your own time, you know. And you're playing some nice soft meditative kind of music, and you're just thinking of how, and you come out of that time drifting, falling asleep, and you get up in the morning realizing that your meditation just made you so tranquil and so on, and it was just peaceful, and all you're doing is just meditating, just thinking on these things. So how much more real would it have been to live in that kind of state in year one in the history of earth? So something is wrong when this story is telling you, this is showing me here that the God of the Torah is lying when he tells Noah to eat the food that moves, which is the animals, even the same way as he told man to first eat the fruit that grows out of the ground. In other words, eat the food that grows out of the same ground you were taken off. And sometimes man and nations are referred to as trees in the scriptures. So when you consider that he said eat the food that grows out of the ground, or basically eat from these trees and herbs and so on, he's saying eat something that is consistent with what you are described as in a Torah kind of way. You're described as a tree, or nations are described as trees. So he's saying eat from the trees that grow off the ground and the herbs that grow out of the ground. So there's consistency right there in that kind of doctrine. And these are the reasons why I'm investigating the Torah right now, and I can see that it is fake. The Creator did not give this. I've yet to see that. I believed it all my life, but no more. I will not tolerate this kind of stuff anymore. And I'm only teaching this stuff now because I'm trying to understand how many people and myself could have been deceived, and try to help others to think these things through as well, to make your own decision for yourself, whether you really think the Creator could have written this book with so much confusion in it. He makes your body, the human body, he makes your body to correct itself if something goes wrong. And as far as I can understand, it wouldn't go wrong unless the world went wrong in the first place. But he made it to recover. So shouldn't we recover from killing of animals and eating them? He made your body to recover, so it's well made. Yet still the Torah that we thought was well made is now being cracked now, left, right, and center. And the lies are showing up, the deception, that they don't really work together. Like your whole body is made to work together and to function properly. And nobody's going to come around and tell you that your body is not functioning, is not made to function properly. In fact, the reason why they're trying to see if we can live longer now is because they're saying the human body was designed to live forever, to live longer or last forever. And so it is a mystery in the medical and biological world why we die at a certain age. Why? Because they know the body was designed to just last and last and last, which is why even in the Torah it shows people living so long. And that Adam even died because sin came in, and the others died after him because sin came in. Somehow we have transgressed some type of a law of the whole cosmos, or a universal law. Something has seriously gone wrong. And so he says now, okay, I lost the chapter here. Okay, so yeah, he told him to eat that kind of stuff. Eat the trees, the stuff from the trees that grow out of the ground. Now let's run over to chapter 9 and verse 3. So, reading the chapter will let you know the flood has already gone, and now we're starting to know. And in verse 3 it says, "Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb I have given you all things." And then he tries to tell him there to don't consume the blood and so on, which is just a way to pull off this stuff, right? Because the commands, you can tell that certain things in the scriptures are told to you to get you to do it even though it's wrong. But in order to let you feel that it is right, then they tack on a wrong clause to that made up commandment and tell you that that additional clause is showing what part you'd be wrong in doing if you go ahead and do this other part. So let's say a command has a clause telling you to do this particular thing that's right, and then another clause or instruction that says, but if you go ahead and add on this to it or do it this other kind of way, then it is wrong. That's just a big trick. So like when he says eat the stuff that's running on the ground, basically the animals, but it adds on a part that says if you eat the blood, then you're wrong. The blood part, they're trying to make you feel that that is wrong if you eat it, to make you say, okay, well, if I drain out the blood, then it's all right, when the whole command was wrong to eat the animals. The whole command. Because then God is contradicting himself when he says, eat the stuff that's moving like the animals, basically, even as I have given you the green herb and so on. The whole command is wrong because it is contradictory. It does not allow the God of the Torah to be consistent, and that is his weakness. That's why they hook you with strong faith. Just believe in this and heavy teaching. And you got to go to church or to camp meeting a few times per week so that you are indoctrinated in deception. So this God of the Torah, he is clearly lying. He's clearly lying. Because if he's telling you to eat what grows off the ground, and then afterwards he says, eat everything now, then there is a serious contradiction right there. And until you can see and admit that that is a contradiction, you aren't trying to look at the thing properly. You are still just going by belief what they taught you at first, that God cannot lie. And that is a lie. It is a lie that it is a commandment to eat the animals. It is a lie. God did not say that. But then if the text is showing you that he said it, even though he told the man to eat in Genesis chapter 2 verse 9, what is consistent with his makeup that grows out of the same ground he came out of, then basically it's really telling you that the God of the Torah is lying. And when God is lying, you know the Creator did not write the book, but man wrote the book.